This is the MHS Pawdcast, the online radio voice of Metuchen High School.
Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of the Metuchen High School Podcast, the online radio voice of MHS. I'm Eddie Kalegi. A jam-packed show today. First, we'll be spotlighting the Empowerment Club with advisor Ms. Volosin. Then Josh and I will be talking winter sports, focusing in on the GMC tournaments for boys and girls swimming, the end of the wrestling season, and more. But first, here's Sarah Saracino with the announcement.
Thank you, Eddie. First of all, for freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, if you haven't already, be sure to click the Conferences tab on Genesis to see the scheduled date and time for your scheduling conference with your guidance counselor. Monday, February 4th is the parent orientation for incoming freshmen. The program will begin at 7 in the auditorium. If postponed due to inclement weather, there's a snow date on Thursday, February 7th. Wednesday night, February 6th is a triumph induction ceremony taking place at 7 p.m. in the auditorium. We would like to congratulate all those being inducted. Vote for the Metuchen High School Hall of Fame Class of 2020 in the Metuchen High webpage. The Hall of Fame was created to honor alumni, employees, and major contributors who have distinguished themselves by their achievements in scholarship, athletics, career, community service, and society as a whole. If you would like to nominate someone for the Class of 2020, please click on the MHS Hall of Fame link in the blue sidebar for the criteria and nomination form. Finally, a reminder that there's no school Friday, February 15th and Monday, February 18th. That's all for announcements. Back to you, Eddie.
Thank you, Sarah. Continuing here on the Metuchen High School Podcast, the online radio voice of MHS, I'm Eddie Kalegi. It's time for another club spotlight, and today we will be focusing in on the Empowerment Club. For that, it's a pleasure to be joined by club advisor Ms. Volosin and club president Senior Sophie Falkenstein. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
So first I'll ask you, Ms. Volosin, when was the Empowerment Club first founded, and were you the original advisor?
Yes, so the Empowerment Club was founded 5 years ago by two juniors. I had originally been the faculty advisor with Mr. Gallagher, and now I alternate with Ms. Lozama. But for a couple of years, I was the only faculty advisor for it. And it basically started because the two girls felt like there was a need for a space within the school community where they could talk about issues of gender inequality, but also a way to foster students having a voice and feeling like they could have an impact on school climate and culture.
So what happens at an ordinary club meeting?
Well, usually we start with intros, like introducing you with your name, your grade, your gender pronouns, and something empowering that happened to you that week, which could be anything from like I got an A on a test to like I stood up to someone for something bad that happened to me. And then we go on to talk about like things that are happening in the world, like either internationally or within our own country or even in our own community.
Very cool. A lot of different things you're doing. So why should students join the Empowerment Club? You mentioned having the opportunity to have a voice and speak out. So why should they join the club?
Yeah, I think that students should join the club because it encompasses a lot more than I think kids think that it does. I think people hear the Empowerment Club and they're like, that's a bunch of feminists. And people today often think that feminism is a bad word. Yeah. But empowerment is about creating agency in all different kinds of people. And it's about making people feel that they have control over what's happening to them, how they're portrayed, how they want to interact with others. And that can really apply to everybody. We also do a lot with, I think, talking about contemporary issues that affect teenagers. February is Dating Violence Awareness Month, and that's something that has affected a lot of, students in the school and in the community. And just talking about, gender roles and the pressure of being a male and or female teenager in this day and age. So I think people should come because it can be a relief sometimes to know that there are people who are going through the same things as you and that you have an ability to share your experiences in a safe space and in a community where you can talk about interesting and sometimes controversial, sometimes political, but sometimes personal issues.
So from what I've heard, it's not just feminism. It breaks out from more than just that. Just having the opportunity to feel like you're in control of yourself and in many different aspects. You just mentioned about dating violence. So it's a very diverse club, not just focused on one thing, but on many different topics.
Definitely. We did things during the month of respect with the Gay Straight Alliance Club. So there are LGBTQ things that we looked at. We look at the minority issues, not just, women as a minority.
We also, recently we talked about in a club meeting, certain men's rights issues that have come up in the past, including like equal pay and like what that means for men as well as women.
So what are some of the future plans for the club this year?
Every year we do a fundraiser. We're actually going to try and go on a campaign to involve more members in the club, because a lot of our members are upperclassmen, especially from last year. Most of our members were seniors. So we're trying to like open ourselves to like a new crowd of people and try to get more people interested, because again, it's really more than just for women and feminists.
So when and where are the club meetings, and if someone wants to join, who should they contact?
So kids can just show up, and if they're free, they can come. If something happened to them that week, and they want to talk about it, if they just want to see what we're talking about. So don't feel you need to contact anybody. Just show up when the mood strikes you. They happen in room 128. That's my classroom over in the English hallway, and they meet every Wednesday, and we go from 3 to 3:45.
Well, great to hear. That's about all the time we have. Ms. Volosin, Sophie Falkenstein, it's been a pleasure having you here on the Metuchen High School podcast.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
So when we come back, we will be talking Metuchen High sports, including the GMC swimming tournaments. I'm Eddie Kalegi. This is the Metuchen High School podcast, the online radio voice of MHS.
Having trouble seeing the board in class? Do you need safety glasses for your school sport? If you answered yes to either of these questions, head over to Optique Unique, the eyeglass store at 406 Main Street in Metuchen. Optique Unique does it all. Not only do they offer eyewear for all ages, they also sell sports-specific safety glasses for kids and adults. Call them at 732-321-2020. That's 732-321-2020, or visit OptiqueUnique.com. Do you want to build character, build confidence, or even build yourself? All that and more can be accomplished at the Black Belt Institute at 23 New Street, right here in Metuchen. Students of all ages have been able to learn respect, discipline, fitness, and self-defense from their experienced instructors for over 20 years. Whether you're an adult looking for stress reduction or know someone young who has interest in Taekwondo, the Black Belt Institute is the place to go. The Institute takes a fun approach at teaching the rules of self-defense, instilling in their students an I-can-do-it attitude. Interested in taking a class? Call them at 732-205-9797 or visit their website at blackbeltinst.com. Once again, that's 732-205-9797 or blackbeltinst.com. The Black Belt Institute, Metuchen's leader in martial arts and fitness. The MHS Pawdcast is proudly sponsored by Reflections on Main Salon at 176 Main Street in Metuchen. The salon offers hair design, nail, waxing, and makeup services for all ages. They are committed to providing the best customer service in the industry, offering a tranquil environment with environmentally friendly products and top brand names. Call them at 732-205-9881 or visit their website at reflectionsonmainNJ.com. Reflections on Main, Middlesex County's premier full-service beauty salon. The MHS Pawdcast is also sponsored by Allstate Insurance at 63 Pearl Street in Metuchen. Allstate, are you in good hands?
Welcome back to the Metuchen High School Podcast, the online radio voice of MHS. I'm Josh Hyman.
And I'm Eddie Kalegi.
As the winter sports season begins to wind down, the battles in the GMC are heating up. This past weekend was the GMC tournaments for swimming. Neither team won the conference, but both had very solid performances. Tell us about that.
Well, yeah, neither team won, but a pair of strong fourth-place showings for each team at the GMCs. We'll start with the girls. They were fourth out of the 16 teams of the meet, earning 399.5 points. Although J.P. Stevens came out victorious, Metuchen was strong in the gold medal count as sophomore Bridget Thomas won the 200 and 500-meter freestyles. Metuchen also captured the 200 freestyle relay, with Thomas, Sarah Jenny, Caroline Schlief, and Chloe Jacques teaming up for the relay race. Despite not winning the GMC, another strong showing from the girls. Now, as for the boys, they were also fourth as St. Joseph's captured the GMC title. As expected, it was senior Julian Park carrying the load for the Bulldogs, winning the shortest event of the day, the 50-meter freestyle, by over half a second. Now, that is impressive. Only a 50-meter race, and being able to just pull away from the competition and win by a half a second. Dogs also placed second in the 200-yard medley relay, and sophomore Alan Sia earned a pair of top 5 finishes in races. Lots of good things happening for Coach Thomas's crew that will just continue to prove in the upcoming seasons.
Yeah, and especially for the girls swim team, there seems to be a lot of young talent on the team, so maybe
Absolutely.
in next year or 2 years we could possibly see another GMC win from them.
Yes, Bridget Thomas, the sophomore, when she's a junior or a senior, helping to lead this team even more. There's a lot of good underclassmen on the team as well, so a lot of good things happening for Metuchen swimming.
And the wrestling season might be coming to an end, but it was definitely a season to remember for Coach Hegel's squad. Who led them on this path, and can this be replicated?
Well, they are moving on to the state sectional, so something to celebrate. The bad news, it's against South Plainfield on Monday, and that is not an easy test. It's on the road against South Plainfield. An upset would be remarkable, but it seems kind of unlikely. Nevertheless, a year of growth and notoriety for Coach Kegel's bunch, who find themselves 11-2 at season's end. You've had seniors Liam Walker, Charlie Bradley, Michael Siren carrying the team. They've been carrying the load this year, but they'll be departing. But you've got a core coming with incoming senior Elijah Irvin, junior Jacob Bazer, along with a distribution of talent in all weight classes and all grades. It's not just about the seniors on this team. Yes, they've helped carry the load and led them on this path, but you've got some of these younger wrestlers that are going to just help keep building this team. But this year was so great for this team. As we talked about on past shows, you've had so many fans coming out to the matches here at Metuchen High School. Coach Kegel, there's been articles on NJ.com, My Central Jersey, both have done articles about the resurgence of this Metuchen wrestling team. And although they're not going to capture the conference title, it's still a very good season for this team, like the swim team, and definitely some exciting stuff to look at in the future.
Yeah, I agree, Eddie. I think it doesn't matter what happens at this point. The wrestling team should be extremely proud of what they've done. Coach Hegel should be very blessed with the team he has, and everyone on this team should be looking forward to the next few years in Metuchen, because this wrestling team is going to be a force to be reckoned with within the coming years.
Definitely.
And it's been a rough stretch for the girls basketball team, but they did have something memorable happen last Saturday against Monroe. What was that?
Well, third quarter, final seconds, sophomore Chase Clavon sunk a buzzer beater from nearly half court. You can see the video on GMC Hoops on Twitter. It was a bright spot for what has been a tough month of January for the girls, plagued by some poor performances and the injury bug. Sam Anton has been out recently. They're 3-12 on the season. They haven't won since January 5th, averaging just 41 points per game during the skid. But Molly Millay continuing to average nearly 20 points per game this season. Chase Clavon over the last few games has risen in her PPG as well, but still there is work to be done for this team. A couple more games this season that they got to start looking towards next season and seeing how they can improve. Molly Malig, though, as she gets older, she's going to become wiser on the court, make less of those rookie mistakes, and it's going to be good for this team.
Yeah, definitely. Molly Malig is going to be a player to watch. And going into next season, what do you think is the biggest thing this girls team has to improve on?
It's got to be rebounding and defense. Now, you have height on this team. Bridget O'Connor, yes, she's graduating, and so is Michaela Kachi, but with Sam Anton as well. You've had height on the team, but you haven't been able to use it effectively with rebounding and defense. They have to be able to... They have assets on the team. They just have to be able to put them into effect. But next year's going to be tougher because with both Kachi and O'Connor graduating, Sam Anton is the only real pure center that's on the roster right now. They got to hope they can get some more height coming in, but there's going to be a lot of load on the incoming senior next year.
Yeah, definitely. They got hit hard with the senior bug last year. It's going to be really interesting to see how they kind of survive it next year and going into next season.
Yes.
And the boys basketball team continues to hover around the 500 mark. Is this team destined for success in the looming GMC tournament?
Well, the senior bug's been hitting them hard, but still an 8-7 record can be something to celebrate. And what was supposed to be a tough season, knowing all the players that were leaving after last. Most recently, the boys defeated Perth Amboy Tech earlier this week by the score of 61-45. You had sophomore Luke Schleck leading the way with 22 points. But how about fellow sophomore Jai Dreher having a standout performance of the season, a double-double, 19 points, 10 rebounds. Production is being spread around among the sophomores and seniors, and the team has hit its stride as of late. Definitely a benefit as the GMC tournament approaches.
Yeah, definitely. I think they've had some trouble in the beginning of the season, not such a great record, but it's really good to see them now having success and showing us what they can really do on this team. What else is happening in MHS sports?
Well, another tie for the Metuchen Edison joint hockey team Monday against Newark East Side. They're 1-10-3 on the season. They have senior night coming up this Friday. Not the best of records, but the team is definitely improving. Now, one last sport. I thought I'd ask you, since you're part of the team, how's the winter track team been doing so far?
Winter track team has been good. A lot of new PRs recently. We're really getting ready for that spring season. Winter is kind of treated as a developmental thing, trying to ease everyone back into the sport, and I think it's doing its job perfectly. Mr. Holleran is obviously in complete control. He's confident. He's believing a lot in this team. It's going very well, and we have sectionals coming up on Saturday at the Toms River Bubble, so it's going to be really interesting to see who moves on to groups, who moves on to meet a champions, and we're just trying to keep our season alive, make sure we don't end our run at sectionals.
Well, that's about all the time we have. Thank you to our guests, Miss Volosin and Sophie Falkenstein, Sarah Tarosina for the announcements, Miss Wisniewski, our club advisor, Miss Glade for providing the space, and all of our sponsors. I'm Eddie Kaleghi.
And I'm Josh Hyman.
And this is the MHS Pawdcast, the online radio voice of Metuchen High.